And if you had any doubt that LG was falling behind in the competition, the G4 is surely an example that they haven't lost their touch. But that was then, and this is the LG G4 now. With Mobile World Congress just around the corner, we also have the LG G5 just around the corner. And with that, we wanted to bring you a look back at the LG G4. After all, we've had this phone for a little bit over a year now. The LG G4, at the time of its release, was boasting certain features that other flagships just weren't providing. And that's, of course, removable battery and expandable storage. And it was going to do so in some style. After all, we have this curved device due to a slightly curved display that was adopted from the G Flex line. And of course, you have the back button layout that originated from the LG G2. And there was some extra style injected into this phone, as the backings, some of them rather, were made of vegetable tanned leather. But unfortunately for me, I still had to just have this gray plastic backing. But overall, the design aesthetic has really paid dividends because the slightly curved device itself rests so nicely in the hand that it's one of the most comfortable phones to use. And even then, it looks just that little bit different from pretty much every other Android phone out there that doesn't have this kind of aesthetic. But there is one little issue when it comes to the sides and the grip, because the slightly curved sides and also the very thin profile of the phone make it so that this phone is actually a little bit tough to actually pinch and grip. And I thought of one main situation where that actually became a problem. Now, I did want to harp on the design aspect just a little bit more, because with the LG G5, if the rumors are to be confirmed, when the G5 comes out, we might actually see the back button layout go away and also the curved phone itself. Now, the G5 might actually have a radically different design language this year, and honestly, that might be a bit of a shame, because I personally really like the G4's design language, because it makes it just that little bit different from every other phone out there without actually needing to try all that hard. Not to mention how comfortable it is to use, even in one hand. Getting underneath the surface, however, we get everything that a flagship by LG should be. A Quad HD display, IPS display, has pretty much the coloration that you would expect and the good brightness in broad daylight, and it continues the tradition that was started by the G3. The Snapdragon 808 is what powers everything, and yes, that is a slight step down from more powerful devices that use the Snapdragon 810 or anything comparable, but overall I've been able to have a really good time throughout my usage of the G4. Getting everything done from GPS navigation to playing music, YouTube, even Netflix, and doing all my messaging and my emails on the G4 has been nothing short of reliable. The only time that I actually had some slowdown was in gaming, and in this case I'm using Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes as my example, and you can already see that there is some slowdown not only in the menus but in the gameplay itself, which has that little bit of stutter going along. But of course, hardware is the main draw, the main claim to fame for the G4. After all, it has the replaceable battery and the expandable storage, but I have to make one little confession. I actually have not used a replaceable battery since the Galaxy Nexus, and that was quite a while ago. After that, expandable storage is not something that I feel like I have to use until I actually run out of space on the device, and the 32 gigabytes that I had in the LG G4 were more than enough for me in terms of actually getting everything that I need done. As far as battery life goes, it is still kind of par for the course to have one full day's worth of battery life. In my case, I had about 3.5 hours on average of screen on time, but I was able to make it to the very end of the day. The 16 megapixel f1.8 aperture camera proved to be pretty reliable, and it comes with laser autofocus, so it is able to pinpoint exactly where the focus should be. And when using the simple mode, I actually found this to be the most fun. You just have to tap on the screen in order to get the shot off, and most of the time the shot is actually pretty good. But when it is not quite where you want it to be, that's when the manual mode came into play. Now, 2015 was the year of the manual mode, and the LG G4 showed us what it could be like with real minute details. Even the Kelvin readings inside of the white balance were available, so if the auto mode was unable to get the shot that I wanted, I was able to tweak it inside of the manual mode. My only qualm with it, however, is that you're, using a touchscreen in order to change all of the settings, and that can be a little bit cumbersome, not to mention take up some of the time if you actually need to get a shot off quick. But that's pretty much what you expect out of a camera like this. Overall, however, picture quality has been really good. All the photos are nice and detailed, even if the coloration could use that little bit extra punch that I'm used to from other phones. And finally, in software, you probably saw already in the earlier clip that I put the Google Now launcher on this phone. Now, that might not come as much of a surprise because LG's GUI unfortunately just didn't have that many useful features and had quite a few too many of them that I never did use. For example, the smart widget that went on the home screen, which pretty much just reminded me to put on a jacket when it was raining outside. There's also the smart cleaner, which I only used maybe once or twice, and of course the multitasking capabilities like the Q slide, which thankfully I'm able to hide in the notification dropdown, even though I already put Google Now Launcher on here. So overall, the experience of the LG G4 has been very good. This is still a reliable device to have, and if you are able to leverage the replaceable batteries and the expandable storage, it could very well go the distance. That said, the design aspect is what I enjoy the most about this phone, and I really hope that even if in the G5 we don't necessarily see the curved display or the back buttons that much anymore, that we still get to see it in other parts of LG's lineup. And hopefully the G5 will actually give us some real compelling features moving forward so that the G4 can be a very, very nice and positive memory back. So as always, keep it tuned to Android Authority, and you can see the full review of the LG G4, the one that I did a little while back, here at the Android Authority YouTube channel. And if you head on over to AndroidAuthority.com, you'll see all of the coverage of the G5 and everything from MWC 2016. After that, make sure you watch even more content from my brothers and sister in Android, and you can download the Android Authority application on your Android device so you can get even better access to all of the stuff that we put out for you, including the Android Authority podcast. Once you're done with all of that, drop us some likes on our videos and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then, once you're done with all that, head on over to AndroidAuthority.com because we are your source for all things Android.